2026 Connecticut DMV HazMat Endorsement Test 230 questions and complete answers. Question 1. A placard should be placed. Option A. At least 3 inches away from any other markings. Option B. Under a ladder if space is an issue. Option C. On a background that is a similar color to the placard. The correct answer is option A. At least 3 inches away from any other markings. Explanation. A placard must be placed at least 3 inches away from any other markings. The placard should be kept clear of attachments or devices, such as doors and ladders. Placards should always be placed against a background of a contrasting color. Question 2. Shipping papers identifying hazardous materials should be. Option A. At the bottom of a stack of shipping papers. Option B. On the top of a stack of shipping papers. Option C. In a location separate from non-hazardous materials. Option D. Stored under the passenger's seat. The correct answer is option B. On the top of a stack of shipping papers. Explanation. Carriers and drivers must be able to quickly identify hazardous materials. Shipping papers. Shipping papers for hazardous materials should be on the top of a stack of shipping papers. Question 3. Regulations relating to hazardous materials are intended to protect all of the following except Option A. You. Option B. Those around you. Option C. The environment. Option D. Buildings. The correct answer is option D. Buildings. Explanation. Due to the risks involved, government on federal, state, and local levels may impose regulations on the transportation of hazardous materials. These regulations exist to protect the driver, others near the vehicle, and the environment. Question 4. If a driver is given a leaking package or shipment, they should Option A. Accept it. Option B. Refuse it. Option C. Leave it on the side of the road. The correct answer is option B. Refuse it. Explanation. It is a driver's responsibility to refuse packages or shipments of hazardous materials if they contain leaks. Question 5. In addition to reading the manual, what is an effective way to learn about transporting hazardous materials? Option A. Talking to other drivers. Option B. Attending hazardous materials training courses. Option C. Guessing. Option D. Working on cars. The correct answer is option B. Attending hazardous materials training courses. Explanation. While the manual contains all of the information needed to pass the written exam for a hazardous materials endorsement, it does not contain all of the information necessary to do the job safely. You can learn more by attending hazardous materials training courses. Question 6. Who is responsible for identifying the hazard class of a hazardous material? Option A. The shipper. Option B. A contractor. Option C. The driver. Option D. Everyone. The correct answer is option A. The shipper. Explanation. The shipper of hazardous materials is responsible for using the hazardous materials regulations to determine the product's identification number, proper shipping name, hazard class, and packing group. They are also responsible for determining the correct packaging, labels, markings, and placards to use. Question 7. When trying to control a minor truck fire, what should you do before opening the trailer doors? Option A. Check to see if the doors are hot. Option B. Throw water on the doors. Option C. Put on a pair of gloves. Option D. Wait 30 minutes. The correct answer is option A. Check to see if the doors are hot. Explanation. If you are experiencing a truck fire, you should not attempt to open trailer doors without first feeling the doors to see if they are hot. If the doors are hot, there may be a cargo fire. Leave the doors closed if there is a cargo fire. Question 8. Portable tanks. Option A. Cannot be removed from a vehicle. Option B. Are permanently attached to a vehicle. Option C. Are not permanently attached to a vehicle. Option D. Should not be used. The correct answer is option C. Are not permanently attached to a vehicle. Explanation. Cargo tanks remain on a vehicle at all times, regardless of whether or not they are carrying cargo. Portable tanks are bulk packaging and are not permanently attached to a vehicle. Question 9. Emergency response information provided by the shipper must include Option A. Risks of fire or explosion. Option B. Value of the materials. Option C. Date of packing. Option D. Origination of the materials. The correct answer is option A. Risks of fire or explosion. Explanation. At a minimum, emergency response information must include the basic descriptions and technical names of the materials being transported, immediate hazards to health, risks of fire or explosion, immediate precautions to be taken in the event of an accident or incident, immediate methods for handling fires, initial methods for handling spills or leaks in the absence of fires, and preliminary first aid measures. Question 10. Load hazardous materials. Option A. Near heat sources. Option B. Away from heat sources. Option C. In direct sunlight. Option D. In the rain. The correct answer is option B. Away from heat sources. Explanation. Hazardous materials should always be loaded away from heat sources. May materials become more hazardous if their temperatures increase. Question 11. Identification numbers assigned to chemicals can be found. Option A. In the DOT Emergency Response Guidebook. Option B. In the truck's operation manual. Option C. On the EPA's website. Option D. At fuel stations. The correct answer is option A. In the DOT Emergency Response Guidebook. Explanation. The United States Department of Transportation DOT's Emergency Response Guidebook ERG lists all hazardous chemicals and their assigned identification numbers. Question 12. Materials that are considered hazardous may include all of the following, except Option A. Explosives. Option B. Gases. Option C. Solids. Option D. Rocks. The correct answer is option D. Rocks. Explanation. Hazardous materials are products that pose risks to health, safety, and property during transportation. Materials that are considered hazardous include explosives, flammable and poisonous gases, and flammable and other hazardous solids. Question 13. If a driver is given a leaking package or shipment, they should Option A. Accept it. Option B. Refuse it. Option C. Leave it on the side of the road. Option D. Get someone else to drive it. The correct answer is option B. Refuse it. Explanation. It is a driver's responsibility to refuse packages or shipments of hazardous materials if they contain leaks. Question 14. A person who is watching the loading or unloading of a tank must do all of the following, except Option A. Remain alert. Option B. Remain within 25 feet of the tank. Option C. Wear a chemical suit. Option D. Know the hazards of the materials involved. The correct answer is option C. Wear a chemical suit. Explanation. The person in charge of loading or unloading a hazardous materials cargo tank must ensure that a qualified person is always supervising the process. The supervisor must be alert, have a clear view of the tank, be within 25 feet of the tank, know the hazards of the involved materials, know the procedures to follow in the case of an emergency, and be authorized to and capable of moving the tank. Question 15. As a driver, which of the following is not your job at the scene of an accident? Option A. Keeping people away from the scene. Option B. Taking heroic measures to put the fire out. Option C. Communicating the danger of the hazardous materials to response personnel. The correct answer is option B. Taking heroic measures to put the fire out. Explanation. If you are involved in an accident while carrying hazardous materials, it is your responsibility as the driver to keep people away from the scene, limit the spread of material if you can safely do so, inform emergency response personnel of the dangers posed by the materials, and provide emergency personnel with the shipping papers and emergency response information. Unless you have protective equipment and the necessary training, do not try to fight hazardous materials fires yourself. Question 16. If a shipping paper describes both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous materials may need to be Option A. Highlighted in a contrasting color. Option B. Circled by a pen or marker. Option C. Unmarked. The correct answer is option A. Highlighted in a contrasting color. Explanation. If a shipping paper describes both hazardous and non-hazardous materials, the hazardous materials must be distinguished in one of three ways. They must be entered first on the shipping paper, highlighted in a contrasting color, or properly marked with an X in a column titled HM. Question 17. Who must mark and label the materials for shipping? Option A. The mechanic. Option B. The shipper. Option C. The driver. The correct answer is option B. The shipper. Explanation. The shipper of hazardous materials is responsible for correctly labeling and marking them. The driver should make sure that the shipper properly labeled and marked the materials before beginning a trip. Question 18. A person supervising the loading of a tank. Option A, does not have to be able to move the vehicle. Option B, must be a licensed firefighter. Option C, does not need to know about the materials being loaded. Option D, must stay within 25 feet of the tank. The correct answer is option D, must stay within 25 feet of the tank. Explanation: the loading and unloading of a tank must be watched by a qualified person. They must be alert, have a clear view of the tank, stay within 25 feet of the tank, know the hazards of the materials involved, know the procedures to follow in an emergency, and be authorized and able to move the tank if necessary. Question 19. When loading containers of hazardous materials, you should not use Option A, dollies. Option B, hooks. Option C, straps. Option D, other helpers. The correct answer is option B, hooks. Explanation: when loading or unloading containers of hazardous materials, you should not use hooks or any other tools that could damage containers or packaging. Question 20. If a package contains liquid containers, the package must display Option A, arrows pointing in the correct upright direction. Option B, a return address. Option C, the number of containers inside the box. Option D, the word fragile. The correct answer is option A, arrows pointing in the correct upright direction. Explanation: packages containing liquid containers should display arrows pointing in the correct upright direction. These packages should be placed facing the correct direction. Question 21. How often do hazardous materials employees need to be trained? Option A, at least once a week. Option B, at least once every 3 years. Option C, at least one every 10 years. The correct answer is option B, at least once every 3 years. Explanation: employees who work with hazardous materials must be trained and tested at least once every 3 years. Question 22. Class 1, Class 2.1, and Class 3 materials should not be placed in a trailer with Option A, a heater. Option B, an air conditioner. Option C, other items. The correct answer is option A, a heater. Explanation: the use of cargo heaters is not always permitted when transporting materials that are categorized as Class 1 explosives, Class 2.1 flammable gases, or Class 3 flammable liquids. The use of heaters in the same space is generally prohibited. Question 23. A hazardous materials identification number should appear. Option A, on the transporting vehicle's bumper. Option B, on the material's packaging. Option C, on a sticker near the material's shipping container. The correct answer is option B, on the material's packaging. Explanation: a material's ID number must appear on its accompanying shipping paper as well as on its packaging. It also must appear on cargo tanks and other bulk packaging. Question 24. Regulations relating to hazardous materials are intended to protect Option A, you. Option B, those around you. Option C, the environment. Option D, all of the above. The correct answer is option D, all of the above. Explanation: transporting hazardous materials can be risky. The regulations are intended to protect you, those around you, and the environment. Question 25. There may be restrictions on the transportation of explosives or hazardous waste in certain areas. These restrictions, Option A, are usually not a concern. Option B, are waived on the weekends. Option C, should be researched before taking a route. Option D, only apply if transporting more than 1,000 pounds of a material. The correct answer is option C, should be researched before taking a route. Explanation: before transporting hazardous materials, you should research any restrictions that may apply to the routes you plan to take. Question 26. A shipping paper, Option A, is not needed for most shipments of hazardous materials. Option B, is required for all shipments of hazardous materials. Option C, can be kept in a digital file. The correct answer is option B, is required for all shipments of hazardous materials. Explanation: shippers of hazardous materials are required to provide proper shipping papers to communicate the risks of the materials. Question 27. If accepting a shipment, what could indicate that the cargo contains hazardous materials? Option A, the cargo is stored in cylinder tanks. Option B, the cargo is picked up from a supermarket. Option C, the cargo is packaged on wood pallets. The correct answer is option A. The cargo is stored in cylinder tanks. Explanation: cylinders and drums are often used to contain hazardous materials. Be sure to take the proper precautions if transporting a cargo of hazardous materials. Question 28. When applying for an original or renewed HazMat endorsement, you must undergo a background check through which agency? Option A. The Transportation Security Administration. Option B. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. Option C. The Department of Energy. The correct answer is option A. The Transportation Security Administration. Explanation: when applying for an original or renewed HazMat endorsement, you must undergo a federal security threat assessment done by the Transportation Security Administration TSA. Question 29. Containers of hazardous materials must be: option A. brightly colored. Option B. braced to prevent movement during transportation. Option C. made of cardboard. The correct answer is option B. braced to prevent movement during transportation. Explanation: containers of hazardous materials should be braced so they will not fall, slide, or bounce around during transportation. Question 30. Which type of material may be required to have a transport index? Option A. corrosive. Option B. radioactive. Option C. poisonous. Option D. explosive. The correct answer is option B. radioactive. Explanation: some radioactive materials are required to be accompanied by a transport index. A transport index is a number that indicates how much control the material will require during transport. The total transport index of all cargo in a single vehicle may not exceed 50.